Good morning. Hope you are all well and safe. And thank you for joining us today in this virtual event. I don't want to take much of time talking about JDS. Most of you are friends, colleague, and partner. I just would like to mention that this year mark our 40 years anniversary serving the IT market in Jordan. In today's event, we will talk about second generation of hyperconverged infrastructure, HCI 2.0, offered by our partner HPE. As a Tier 1 Platinum partner, authorized service center, authorized delivery partner, we are ready to design, size, implement, and support HPE solution. And we look forward for you taking advantage of all the added value that HPE provide. I would like to leave the stage now for Kenny, the HPE expert, to talk more about the solution we are providing. Thank you very much, Kenny.
Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me. And thank you so much for taking the time to join us today in our event. For those who don't know me, my name is Kenny Dow, and I am an HPE Solutions Architect handling Levant region. First of all, I hope you are all staying safe during this pandemic period. And I wish our next event will be face-to-face. Now, that's how it is today, and let's make the best out of it. I promise you it's going to be fun, it's going to be exciting. And I'm very excited to be with you today to show you how we can take the traditional HCI experience that maybe you are familiar with, or maybe you have heard about it, how you can take it even further with an innovative solution from HPE called HPE HCI 2.0, which is the next gen, as Samer mentioned, of the traditional HCI. Without any further delays, let's dive in. Now, first of all, let's look into the challenges that the IT might face today. So what are the challenges that you might have in your data center? Now, virtualization is there, it's here, it's solving some problems. Yes, it is, it makes life easier. However, the pandemic accelerated the digital transformation. And the virtualization is an accelerator to do that, is to accelerate also the digital transformation. However, what about the current infrastructure? What about the siloed environment? The complexity of the infrastructure, having multiple layers to manage, sometimes from different vendors, sometimes even from one vendor. You need to manage these separate environments on their own. Now, even more today during this pandemic period, the IT is becoming more and more a business partner. The business is asking IT for more. Why is that? Because you see that a lot of, during this pandemic period, a lot of services, they transformed to digital. And the business got asking the IT, I need to deploy these new type of services in a faster time to market. Why is that? Because they need to stay ahead of the competition. So the IT cannot keep like firefighting, cannot keep managing this complex environment that they currently have. More importantly, they are asked for more applications and less resources in terms of budget perspective, less resources in terms of even IT perspective or IT resources. Now, if we take a look back at the customer journey or your journey a few years back or a decade ago, where the converged infrastructure was introduced. Yes, the converged infrastructure was there to speed time to market. How is that? You just order a predefined configuration from the factory. It's pre-validated configuration from the vendor itself. However, it was more or less a little bit hard to manage. Scalability, I can say it wasn't that good because when you want to scale a Converge system, you need to do this whole checking across all the components together. What if I added this component? Do I still have enough space in this rack? Because after all, it was a bulky system that you need to order from the vendor, from vendor perspective. And by that time, it solved a lot of problems. And this is perfectly normal and it was fine. But then we boosted this experience with what? With a hyperconverged. So let's agree on one thing. Hyperconverged is an experience. Why would you, as a customer, consider hyperconverged? What is the value that brings to you? First of all, there are three main categories or three main reasons why you would even consider a hyperconverged environment. The reason number one is the simplicity of the experience. You manage everything from a single platform or a single pane of glass. The second one is not only you manage it like different layers, you manage it based on the VM approach or VM-centric approach. After all, why do you purchase a platform? Why do you purchase any infrastructure? It's all about the application. It's all about the virtual machine itself. And this is the end result. This is the outcome that you're looking for. So what if you managed everything around the virtual machine? And this is what the hyperconverged is providing, which is great. And customers or you love this experience. And most importantly, what about the scalability? Flexibility to grow, or actually the seamless way to grow or scale our system, starting from small, not this bulky system like the converged infrastructure where 10 years ago, starting small, as little as few nodes, and then growing along the way by adding nodes in a seamless fashion. This is what is actually the experience that the customers like about the hyperconverged. Now, the question is, what if we can bring this experience even to more workloads? Because workloads are changing. Workloads are expanding. They are going out of the data center, as we will see in our next slide. It's not only the traditional way of doing business where you have everything consolidated. No, it's even going towards, as you see here, towards the edge. Now, what we define as the edge, this is the branches, the robo versions, is where actually you need the smallest footprint because you don't have enough IT resources. You don't have enough power. You don't have enough cooling, for example. You need the smallest footprint of system, yet that can still bring you some resiliency, still bring you some availability, because after all, you're running your production environments there. Now, from the edge, we move towards the core. The core is where your business critical applications are running, where you have multiple workloads. Now, one thing about the core is the unpredictable growth, especially again during this pandemic period, where let's say the business came up with certain service. Now, if you take a look at how will this service behave, I mean, does it require more compute or does it require more storage? So this is unpredictable. It's not like we're constantly scaling in a linear fashion. No, we might scale in compute alone, we might scale in storage alone. And most importantly, another buzzword is the cloud experience. Also, cloud is not a destination for us as HPE. It is an experience, but we want to have the same experience on-prem where it provides us maximum flexibility, ease of use, ease of scalability, just few simple clicks, and that's it. But also we want to have this mobility and freedom to move our workloads from on-prem, depends of course on the workload, from on-prem to the cloud, back and forth. Most importantly, we need to consider the egress charges as well, and the ability to move this in a single pane of glass and from one single experience. This is why our portfolio actually spans and it's tailored. We tailored our portfolio from HCI perspective to cover these different layers of workloads, whether be it from the edge. We have our HPE SimpliVity, which is optimized for the edge, as we will see in the upcoming slide. From our core business perspective, or for your core business workloads, where it's business critical, you need maximum performance, low latency, high resiliency. This is why we introduced HPE Nimble Storage, the HCI. Now, let me be clear. The HCI 2.0 is the naming of our technology that is called HPE Nimble Storage, the HCI. It's what the market actually started calling it because they saw it as the evolution of the standard HCI, the next generation of the traditional HCI, the way we know it. Now, most importantly, we want those platforms to be out of the box, connected to the cloud, to have the ability to move my workloads from on-prem to the cloud in a seamless way. This is why we want this unified management experience sitting on top of these tailored portfolio, HCI portfolio, in order to manage all of them from a single experience, single pane of glass in a seamless fashion. Above all, intelligence. Intelligence is a buzzword today, definitely one of the biggest buzzwords everywhere, not only an IT perspective, it's in our everyday to-day life. We will come into that in the upcoming slides. So this is how we build and we tailored our portfolio to have a single experience for every workload where it's designed to be, let it sit where it's designed to be, whether be it on the edge, on the core, or even to the cloud, have this mobility from the edge towards the cloud. Now, I want you to take a moment to imagine that you can have a technology or an HCI technology that can bring you 6 nines data availability guaranteed. 90% more data efficiency. What does that translate to, into? It means that if you have 100 terabyte worth of data, they can be stored on 10 terabyte worth of data. Imagine that. This is from efficiency, and this is a huge from investment protection. Now, last but not least, it will give you around 90% more time to innovate, more time to support the business, to be the partner for the business, to drive more services, more innovations, and stay ahead of the competition in the market and lead the market, definitely in the smallest time to market possible. So, what are the key capabilities that are expected from an edge? So first of all, if we go back to the definition of the edge, where it is a branch, a robo environment, we need, again, small footprint, high availability, and everything. I mean, what do I mean by everything? Many services, data services like WAN optimization, backup, they need to be included in a single system where I can just manage it from right-click operations and just few simple click. I can back up certain VMs, I can replicate my VMs. And this is where actually HPE SimpliVity shines, which is our appliance for the hyper-converged environment. Now, why can't any HCI power the edge? First of all, because if you take a look at the competitors, for example, HCI offering, they need certain minimum number of nodes in order to guarantee a certain level of availability, which is actually required from your perspective, even though this is the edge, but you need an availability. At the end of the day, these are your workloads running there. So with the smallest footprint, with only starting 2 nodes, we can give you the high availability that other technologies, other architectures of HCI need at least 5 or 6 nodes in order to compete or to deliver this availability that we can provide in only 2 nodes. The second one is that HPE SimpliVity has built-in data protection. And I'm really talking about backups, a complete copy of your virtual machines. I'm not talking about clones. I'm not talking about snapshots. Actually, I'm not talking about snapshots, not clones, because clone, you need to move them to production again. So this is a complete copy of your data. And I need to mention here that there is 90% of efficiency. So you go ahead, take as many backups as you like. The result is that there is no expansion in capacity. So you can schedule your backups more frequently and you can restore to protect your environment. Now, the third one is manual tuning. The last thing I want is to keep tuning my system, is to think about what policy do I need to apply here? Do I need to apply this erasure coding or that? Do I need to sacrifice performance versus capacity versus availability? No. This is not there in HPE SimpliVity. It will automatically tune itself. Now, what are the key capabilities that are expected from the core? The core, again, is where the business is running, the mission critical environment or the business critical workloads are running. So what is expected from the core? It's expected to have definitely this HCI experience, this simplicity to grow, but what is more expected is that, because if we recall the core, one of the key criteria of the core is that there are unpredictable growth. So I'm expecting or you as a customer to grow independently from compute perspective and from storage perspective. The core is expected to give me maximum performance, sub-millisecond of latency guaranteed even at scale, even when I'm scaling. And definitely availability is the biggest topic, which is from our perspective, we are guaranteeing 6 nines availability. And this is where HPE Nimble Storage DHCI or HCI 2.0 shines. Now, why can't any HCI power the core? First of all, because the way that the HCI works, most of the time at scale, we will face some performance penalty. And if we're talking about the core, definitely we will scale. We don't want to end up having multiple clusters just because to keep certain level of performance. So the second one is the business risk impact. Since we are consolidating everything on a single platform where the data and the virtual machines and the storage are residing on the same platform, so there is a higher risk of business impact. And not to forget that we need certain number, depends on the HCI architecture, but we need certain number of nodes in order to guarantee this availability. So we'll end up thinking, do I need more nodes and add footprint and add some wasted resources, which you can see here as the third point, to guarantee the availability, or I want to sacrifice my availability just to reduce the footprint and get actually the resources that I need. Now, the third one is what is expected from the cloud. Definitely is expected seamless mobility, is expected maximum flexibility between the on-prem and the cloud. And this is where HPE Cloud Volumes shines. And this is one of our offering that we will see in the upcoming slide. So simply put, this is how our portfolio looks like. This is our intelligent HCI portfolio. HPE SimpliVity for general purpose, optimized for the edge, optimized for robo. You can definitely put it in your main data center, but when you're scaling, when you require flexible scalability, when you require maximum availability and performance, this is where HPE Nimble Storage DHCI shines. So I'm gonna double click on the Nimble Storage DHCI because obviously it's our topic for today. Now, again, 3 things we want to remember from hyperconverged experience. What is expected out of the hyperconverged experience? 3 main things. Simple to deploy. Software-defined architecture. I'm not dealing with multiple layers, no SAN switches, no storage, no zoning or whatsoever. Everything is just simple. You just plug it and start using it. Simple to manage because again and again, I'm managing everything from what matters the most, which are the virtual machines, my applications. I'm giving them the right policies, the right performance for every single workload and not having to deal across multiple layers. And last but not least, the simplicity to scale. Scaling, what is it like to scale in traditional HCI? Well, just add additional node and that's it. It will be discovered and you will add some resources. You can start small and scale along the way in a seamless fashion. This slide is on purpose. I know you saw it before and it's not a mistake that it's there again, because really I want to emphasize that from trade-off perspective, that these are the trade-offs that we see that you have to make with the traditional HCI. Performance, business impact, wasted resources because the way of we scale. And this is why we needed to rethink the HCI architecture to come up with something new that is actually tailored to our customers' demands, that can actually power the core with all the demands and that are increasing and changing over time. So the $1 million questions. What if you can bring this hyper-converged experience for any workload without any trade-offs? Now, this is why we introducing the HCI 2.0 for, this is the short name or actually the market name of it, but the product itself from HPE perspective, it's called HPE Nimble Storage DHCI. It's powered by the most selling servers in the industry, HPE ProLiant rack servers, and this is the upper part as you can see here, and by the most intelligent storage in the industry, HPE Nimble Storage. Now, what we did is that we did some optimization and tweak to the Nimble operating system in order for it to give you this HCI experience, to discover the servers and to manage this whole system as one. There is no aggregation. You're not dealing with servers. You're not dealing with storage. You're just dealing with one system. This is how you will see it, and that's it. It's not actually We physically separated them, yes, for obvious reasons that we will see during this presentation. But from system perspective, management perspective, this is a single system. This is an HCI experience. What does the D stand for? For in DHCI, it's called disaggregated HCI, and this is what you see in this picture. We are disaggregating the resources. Now, here's a fun fact. From HPE perspective, HPE ships 46 terabyte of storage and 4 servers every 60 minutes. So you can imagine here from offering perspective that it's really powered by the most selling servers in the industry and the most intelligent storage that we have. And I will tell you why I can say this bold statement that we have this the most intelligent system in the industry in the upcoming slide. Going back to the experience and applying it to the DHCI and what we are introducing. So we mentioned that what is expected from an HCI is the simplicity to deploy. And guess what? It takes around 15 minutes to rack and stack the system. Actually, all you have to do is that when you receive the shipment, when you receive your HPE Nimble Storage DHCI, you grab your phone, there is a QR code. You scan this QR code, you will be directed to a page. Now, if we have time at the end, I will show you that page. It's called HPE InfoSight Welcome Center. Now, what does this page do? First of all, it's optimized for it's mobile friendly. So you can just on your mobile inside the data center, you scan the QR. The first step is for you to check the prerequisites. Is everything set up? Like what I would need to prepare is, for example, the IP addresses for the management, the IP addresses for the data traffic, the name of the array itself, etc., etc., etc. Now I'm done with my checklist. Literally, guys. From unboxing the array, you have a guided step-by-step and a video. I'm not joking, a video even for unboxing the array, removing it from the box and racking it, stacking it, connecting it to the switches, up to the configuration. It's a guided step-by-step with video on top, like 15 seconds, 30 seconds video on top, where you can see what to do in each step. This is how easy it is. This is the experience that is actually expected from a hyper-converged environment. Now, management perspective, again, we were expecting a VM-centric management. Definitely, this is what we're offering you. You manage everything from vCenter. If you are a VMware customer, you already know vCenter, you already know the HCI. You can manage it. It's there. There is no learning curves, no need to learn on new graphical user interface or whatsoever. It's as simple as that. Policy-based and VM-centric approach to manage your system. Now, from scalability perspective, definitely when you add some resources, whether be it's compute, whether be it's storage, they are added automatically discovered. And not to forget that we can scale in a flexible fashion. We can adjust compute, we can adjust storage without affecting availability, without affecting the performance of the system itself. And what is expected also from an HCI environment is a single click upgrade, and this is what we're providing. One click to upgrade the whole system altogether. And what I would like to call here is intelligent upgrades, because when you want to upgrade the system, you don't even need to check the compatibility or even have to choose which firmware do you need to upgrade on the servers, which firmware you need or operating system you need to upgrade on the storage. Everything is pre-checked in an intelligent fashion, and these are highlighted. The updates will be highlighted to you if you are eligible based on your configuration to have this upgrade or not, or maybe there is another upgrade, or you need to tweak certain configuration in your environment in order to make sure that everything is running as it's supposed to be and give you this seamless upgrade feature. Last but not least, which is the most important one, is the support. So we are giving you with our system predictive support with automation and problem resolution in no time. I will focus on support also in the upcoming slide because it's super important. I know a lot of you, just the first thing that they think about when they think about any new architecture or when they want to deploy new architecture is support, or even when choosing to go with a certain vendor. I hear this a lot. I don't like to go with this vendor because of the support experience. Well, it wasn't too much. Now, not here, not with HPE Nimble DHCI, and I will tell you why. Now let's speak about intelligence. Well, obviously, yes, it's gonna be there. What did you expect? I mean, we're using artificial intelligence in our daily life. So it's recommending the movies that we'd like to watch on Netflix, for example. It's recommending the music that we would like to hear. It's telling us what is the fastest way to move from one place to another using, for example, Google Maps. And definitely, it will be in our data center. Why is that? Because if you have multiple layers in your data center, I'm not talking right now about the HCI, let's talk about the infrastructure. Now, managing this infrastructure, whenever a problem happens, troubleshooting this, knowing where the issue is coming from, this can take many days or hours in order to solve this, and opening cases with the support layer and another support layer. And this has changed. You can buy the simplest possible platform on the planet to deploy it, and you love it, you like it. Extremely simple to scale, extremely simple to manage. But what about day two operations? What is day two operation, or what are day two operations? It's actually troubleshooting the system when the issue happens. There are some common issues that these are more often that they might happen, and you can solve them because they are common and you can solve them in no time. But sometimes a simple configuration on a virtual machine, it will take you days and days and many support cases to solve it. And without this intelligence, now imagine if you have a system that is powered by artificial intelligence. It's like we're telling you, listen, HPE will invest with you, and it will give you an employee that is going to watch over your infrastructure 24/7 all the time, monitoring it, checking if there will be possible issues that might happen. Again, possible issues that might happen in the future. Okay, and then if this system or this engineer is there on-prem, it wasn't able to solve this issue on its own, this engineer will directly call level 3, and then will tell the experts, guys, I need your help here. And then level 3 support will come and check what the issue is, and then they will resolve it. But except we're not giving you any employee, definitely. We're giving you even better, an AI system. What does this AI system do? It will do a cross-stack analytics. And this is super important. Just having some analytics or actually some intelligence on different layers on separately, well, this is good. Definitely it's better than not having this. But having this cross-stack or correlation between the different parts of the infrastructure, for example, here from application perspective or VM perspective, from compute perspective, network perspective, and storage, because if the issue happened, okay, let's say we have some latency. The first thing that we blame is the storage. The storage is not performing as it's supposed to be. At the end of the day, we find out that the issue is coming from a virtual machine. It's just a simple configuration on a virtual machine. Or, for example, a noisy neighbor. What does noisy neighbor mean? It means that many bulky VMs are running on a single host, whereas the other host is sitting almost idle. It's running light virtual machines. So this system can tell you, you need to repurpose this underutilized host. You need to move those virtual machines there. Now, everything is optimized with recommendation, with steps, where to go for remediations. What are the knowledge bases that we are basing our recommendations upon? And it's not only from HPE perspective, it's also from VMware, for example, perspective, because here it's powered by HPE, the HPE Nimble Storage, GHCI, is powered by or based on VMware ESXi or vSphere as a hypervisor and as a partner. So it's as easy as this. Now, if I tell you, I want you to take a look at this picture. If I'm telling you that the darker the color, the more latency you will face. Now, let's see, who can guess what are the data stores that are facing the highest latency? I know I do, unless someone is colorblind, and apologies for that. But yeah, you can see that the darker the color, the more latency. So these virtual machines are facing more latency. I can just double click there and find out where is the root cause for this latency, what's happening there. And everything is context aware recommendations. Now, The name of the product or the name of this AI system, it's called HPE InfoSight, as you saw in the previous slide. Now, HPE InfoSight is running on HPE Cloud. So we have our own cloud, super secure. There is no data that is definitely moved or from on-prem to HPE Cloud, only telemetry data. We are gathering the telemetry data to do the data analysis. So what does this mean? Let's say, take an example here. So we have a customer. It could be, this customer can be anywhere around the world. Okay, let's say is in Japan as an example. The system is connected to HPE InfoSight and it's sending as the data analysis to HPE InfoSight, where we are doing machine learning, global correlation. We are checking the sensors across all the telemetry data that has been sent and analyzing this all the time. Now, if we find out, or the system, HPE InfoSight, finds out that there might be an issue that is happening or is about to happen for this particular customer based on the analysis of the data, it will create a case. Yes, it will create a case on its own. Actually, level 1, level 2 cases are automatically opened by HPE InfoSight. And 86% of those cases, which are level 1, level 2, are automatically closed. I'm not even engaged with any support because of this database, because HPE InfoSight has been running for 10 years now, 10 years. And you know very well that any AI system, the more data you give it, the more mature it will get. Well, guess what? During these 10 years, we have collected 1,250 trillion data points. Trillion data points. We have saved, and this is not marketing. This is our database. This is our InfoSight. Okay, we have saved 1.58 million hours of downtime. How is that? Because of this. Because actually we were able to predict the problems before they happen based on the intelligence that we have. Now, going back to this flow, once InfoSight create a case, it will do the root cause analysis to find out what's happening here. So is it related to the host, to the VM, to the network? Is it interoperability or compatibility between the layers? Is it related to a specific configuration in any of these layers? Is it related to the storage only? And is it related to non-best practices? Now imagine that what the system will tell you, Mr. Customer, you're not following best practices. You need to do 1, 2, 3 in order to prevent this issue from happening. Once the problem resolution is resolved, and let me remind you that if the system was not able to solve the issue on its own, it will automatically be transferred to level 3 support. Okay, once the problem resolution is there and we find out what's happening, now we take a look back at our install base, around 10,000 customers or more across the globe. Let me check now. Does this customer have the same the same setup as the customer in Japan had, and he might face this issue? If the answer is yes, we send targeted notifications for those customers. We don't just bombard you with notifications all the time. At the end of the day, we all know that no one will look at those notifications anymore, because if you just keep getting some notifications all the time, you will miss some important ones because some of them are not relevant to your environment and you don't care about them. So this is what we do. We send targeted notifications to our customers across the globe. And this is one of the reasons, or actually the main reason, why HPE InfoSight is running on HPE Cloud, in order to have this global intelligence, global visibility, to see once and prevent for all. The outcome is, again, the support experience. It's unmatched. Seriously, Nimble, the HCI support or Nimble support is unmatched in the industry, with predictive analytics that I talked about, level 1, level 2 automatically closed, rapid root cause analysis. Imagine that at any point in time, you can pick up the phone 24/7 a day, pick up the phone and speak to level 3. You can tell them, guys, I think my environment is not running really well because of 1, 2, 3. And then because they have access to InfoSight, they will just open your dashboard and figure out what's happening. Because InfoSight it's not only actually about the dashboard itself. There are a lot of machine learnings, a huge amount of work happening in the background that you don't see, but the level C support, they have access to this telemetry data, and then they will tell you what's the problem. And even more, if you did not call the guys and they find out that this is something critical for you and you have not responded to this notification that is something critical and might bring your environment down, the level C support call you. A lot of customers were surprised, and they were sitting, and then their phone rang. It was level C support from HPE telling them, you need to do 1, 2, 3 because your system is running some critical issues, or some critical issues are about to happen. The outcome of this is, I don't know if you heard about Gartner Peer Insights, where customers, they do some voting and recommendations on certain products, and everything above 3 is considered really good. Now we have a score of 4.91 over 5. And it's not like with only few customers, there's thousands of customers. They have rated this as their score for satisfaction. The average hold time to talk to our level 3 support, again, I want to emphasize that it's level 3. There is no one in level 1, level 2. There is no level 1, level 2 engineers. It's InfoSight, level 3 only. And this is the people that you talk to. The average hold time is less than 1 minute. Now, what features are we providing with HPE Nimble Storage HCI, and those are the differentiators actually between the traditional HCI and the HCI 2.0. First of all, always on availability. We are giving you with any configurations, 6 nines data availability guaranteed. What does that translate into? Maximum of 30 seconds of downtime per year, if, and the big if, it will ever happen. Now, I think you know by now why I have a capital If or a big if, because of everything that I talked about earlier from InfoSight and intelligence perspective. Now, you can reach sub-millisecond latency with a NOR flash configuration, no problem. Sub 200 microseconds, actually, we have seen those numbers. Yes, you can reach that easily and even at scale. Now, from fault tolerance perspective, obviously, and this is related to the 6 nines availability, of course, there is no single point of failure. Actually, with any configuration, at least we can afford 3 disk failures. And on top of that, if there is an error happening inside the disk itself on a 4th disk after the 3 disks failure, we can recover from that. No single point of failure, not from compute, not from storage perspective. Built-in data protection, you can take as many snapshots as you like. It's very efficient. Replication is there at no additional cost. I repeat, synchronous replication, asynchronous replication, active sites. You go ahead and enable dedupe and compression. It's there anyway. It's enabled by default. We don't charge you for that. We don't tell you, okay, you need this feature, then you need to have this particular edition of the license, whether be it advanced or enterprise. You need to pay extra for encryption, for example. No, it's built in. You can enable it on application level. No additional charges. You just buy Nimble DHCI from day one, and that's it. This is all you pay for, nothing else. Everything is all inclusive. Everything is enabled for you to use. Scalability perspective, by now I'm pretty sure you can deduct that this is how we can scale. We can add up to 32 nodes in a single cluster of ESXi cluster. Go ahead and add more compute because my environment or my business is asking me for services that they require more compute. Now, if you need more storage, you go ahead and scale in storage. You want to scale in IOPS? No problem. Investment protection is there. What you need to do is just switch to controllers, get higher controllers, and that's it. You get more IOPS, more performance. You want to scale in storage? You go ahead, add additional disk, additional capacity, automatically discovered. It will be added to the system, no problem. Now, you want to move to the cloud? We have this. It's integrated, out of the box, nothing to pay for. Of course, to be able to use this feature, but definitely like any cloud, you need to purchase some credits in order to have your data residing on HPE Cloud. Now, why HPE Cloud? I will tell you, I mean, what's the benefit of HPE Cloud volumes, our offering. So no over provisioning. You don't have to think about whether do I need these trade-offs that we spoke about earlier. Do I need to actually sacrifice or trade off this availability just to have less footprint? No over provisioning, no overhead like any HCI or infrastructure has. You just size your system as much as you like for what is needed, and then grow in a flexible fashion along the way while adding only what is needed. Now, I was mentioning that HPE DHCI is based on VMware, and this is true. And this is your HPE DHCI. This is how it will look like. You will have your servers here, your 10 gig switches here, any good 10 gig switches, whether you're purchasing this as one system or you have your own switches, that's perfectly fine. And all you need to do is to purchase HPE Nimble Storage DHCI. Now, what if, I mean, you love this experience, you love HPE Nimble Storage, you love this data availability guarantee that we are providing, and it's working great for you. But, okay, guys, listen, I have Oracle already deployed, it's on physical environment, and it's connected to fiber channel switches. Can you do something about it? Well, you bet we can. What you can do is we can install fiber channel HPAs on HPE Nimble Storage DHCI, and then provision our, for example, Oracle workloads, which are connected through fiber channel. What if you had a Hyper-V environment that you're using for other workloads and you want to consolidate on Nimble Storage? Well, you go ahead and connect it to iSCSI, connect it through fiber channel. It's up to you. It's fully supported. Now, from management perspective, you will definitely manage this system from the HCI perspective, and these other systems will be provisioned just like any other system with an external storage based on Nimble GUI, which is super simple to use, extremely simple for you to use and to start provisioning new workloads. Now, when we say it's a hybrid cloud strategy and it's built for hybrid cloud, we mean it. Okay, so out of the box, you can just start provisioning some workloads on HPE Cloud Volumes. Now, HPE Cloud Volumes is our internal cloud. What it will allow you to do is to replicate your data from on-prem, from HPE Nimble Storage to HPE Cloud Volumes. Now, guess what? After your data is there on HPE Cloud Volumes, you have the freedom to start spinning up some VMs from the hyperscaler of your choice. What does hyperscaler mean? It means Azure, Amazon, or Google Cloud. You go ahead, choose the vendor that you like, the hyperscaler that you like. You only need to provision and pay for the virtual machines, because where is your data? On HPE Cloud Volumes. And HPE Cloud Volumes in the backend is connected. Our data center is connected to all of those hyperscalers. Now, what is the benefit of it? First of all, there is nothing additional to manage from storage perspective. You can just go ahead using the DHCI platform. You go ahead and replicate to HPE Cloud Volumes. There are no egress charges, because these hyperscalers, once you start storing your data there, if you want your data back, you want to move it back to your on-prem, they will charge you for this. Actually, during the pandemic, a lot of our customers, they loved this feature. What happened is that you know very well that the shipment, it got delayed a lot during this pandemic period because of obvious reasons that you know of. Now, some of our customers, they started running out of capacity, or actually InfoSight was predicting that they will run out of capacity in 1 or 2 months. Now, looking back at the shipment tracking, they cannot reach, I mean, even if they ordered today this capacity, or even if they already ordered, it will not reach on time. So what they did is that they just subscribed to Cloud Volumes. They removed some capacity that is not, for example, business critical for them. They replicated, moved it to HPE Cloud Volumes. They freed up some capacity, start using, again, this free capacity. Once the equipment is there, they got back their data, and some of them, they just left it there and for, to use it with the cloud providers. So this is the beauty of HPE Cloud Volumes. Now, from experience perspective, it's timeless. What does timeless mean? It means that it fights against time, right? So first of all, It's all-inclusive software. You get the HCI, you get everything included, as I mentioned before. You get the guaranteed 6 nines availability, as I mentioned earlier. There are no forklift upgrades. You want more performance on the storage, you go ahead, change the controllers. You want more compute, go ahead and add some compute nodes that are automatically discovered. There is a store more guarantee, which is actually the data reduction ratios that we guarantee per workload. So, well, for example, if it's Oracle, let's say we guarantee 3-to-1 or 4-to-1 of data reduction. It depends on the workload and all of the workloads combined together. Now, we have something called technology refresh. And this is where the future-proof and the option for free storage controllers come into play. What does that mean? So let's say you want to purchase the HCI today. You have the option to subscribe to something called technology refresh. It comes a little bit of a premium, definitely. So what does that mean? During 3 years, if we introduced a new HPE Nimble storage generation, you have the with HPE Timeless Storage, you are entitled to get those new controllers at no additional charge during these 3 years. Now, if during these 3 years you did not actually get those controllers and the support renewal, it's due after 3 years, we knock on your door and we tell you, Mr. Customer, those are your new controllers. You are entitled for them. You go ahead. These are your new controllers. We are guaranteeing 25% more performance with this generation. You go ahead and install them. And we're not done yet. We will tell you, do you want to subscribe for additional 3 years of Timeless or technology refresh? And if the answer is yes, just sign a couple of documents and that's it. You pay it with the support renewal. And again, the next 3 years, so we're talking about 3 to 6 years. If you did not change your controllers during this period, at the 6th year, we come at Christmas usually, give you a gift, new controllers, more performance, here you go. You go ahead and install them. And guess what? We will ask you again, do you want to renew this for additional 3 years? Now, guys, we're talking about 9 years worth of investment, 9 years worth of technology refresh, with every refresh at least 25% of performance guarantee. And if at the 6th year you say, yes, I would like to get a new generation, and you subscribe for it, the same thing will happen up to 9 years. So this is truly something, a differentiator versus the traditional HCI. What will you do if there is an Intel, a new chipset that comes into play? You have to replace your whole environment, right, with the traditional HCI. And this is a fact because this is the architecture, how it's built. Now, if you are our customer, you have existing ProLine DL servers, Gen 9 or Gen 10, and you have a VMware environment, or you're planning to switch to VMware, you have some requirement for additional storage capacity, give us a call. Because guess what? We can transform those DL servers that you already have into a DHCI, into a private cloud experience. You just need to buy Nimble Storage DHCI, which is this layer here. So the rest, if you have those servers, perfectly fine. If you have 10 gig switches, you go ahead and use them. You just need to buy Nimble Storage DHCI. And we will connect it to your existing vCenter. We will glue everything together, and you will start using this in a VM-centric approach. This is the voice of one of our customers, PetSure. So they were running around 800 VDI users on AWS. And then during the COVID situation, they adopted Nimble Storage DHCI. And the outcome is that they were able to reduce their operational cost by 50%, improve their performance 2 times, and 50 times faster application. They got 50 times faster application provisioning. Now, have you heard about VMworld? So this is the big event of VMware where they introduce new technologies every single year. It's similar to HPE Discover that we have that, of course, we launch every year. And drum roll, Nimble Storage DHCI won the best of VMworld 2020 for virtualization and cloud. This is what the judges said. HPE Nimble Storage DHCI turns your current server, this is what I was talking about earlier, into an enterprise. The keyword here is enterprise, hyper-converged infrastructure solution, including the automation and a single pane of glass. So Yeah, this is big. Actually, it was huge for us that we won this this innovation. Really, actually, it's a proof that it's truly an innovative solution that we are introducing to the market. Now, to summarize, Nimble Storage HCI, it will allow you to run faster applications. It takes around 15 minutes to rack it and stack it. It's built for the core business, for the business critical applications. It will end the firefighting with an unmatched support experience, direct access to level 3. You go ahead and call them anytime, and we are guaranteeing with no special contracts, nothing hidden in between, 6 nines availability. It's optimized to run everything. What do I mean by everything? As you saw earlier, whether you want to connect external physical servers, you want to run your virtual machines, you want to create some containers. Yes, containers are supported on the HCI. You go ahead and do that. We fully support this with zero wasted resources. Just size and purchase what you need, and that's it. Now, from my side, I'm done. I'm on time, which is good. It's not my usual, so that's great. Now, I leave it for questions. And if you don't have, if there are not a lot of questions, maybe we'll have some time for a quick demo to guide you through some of the features that I was speaking about. Sorry.
Thank you, Kenny, for very, very interesting presentation over there. We have heard a lot about HCI, but this is an eye-opener into HCI 2.0, and especially liked how HP is managing from edge to core to cloud. 2 questions which I can see which have come up. First one, does HP have its own hypervisor? Any comments about that? Go ahead, Kenny.
No, actually, it's not our own hypervisor because, after all, we don't want to reinvent the wheel, right? I mean, we want you as customers to just stay familiar with the technology that you use. And we're starting this technology with VMware. So if you know VMware, you have a VMware environment, you go ahead, you can provision the HCI again and again. It's managed from vCenter. It's not only that we are not introducing a hypervisor, we're not even introducing a new platform for you to learn. As simple as that.
Fantastic. One other clarification, which I think is worthy. You mentioned a lot about Nimble storage, but I didn't see any details on deduplication, data compression. Any comment you would like to make over there? Go ahead, Ken.
Yeah, I mentioned this in the slide in one of my slides that dedupe and compression is there. It's available at no additional cost. Actually, something unique about HPE Nimble Storage HCI is that we do variable block deduplication and compression. What's the advantage of this? Now, imagine that you have 2 types of workloads, right? For example, Exchange and VDI. They don't dedupe very well or compress very well against each other. And we know this. We know this because of InfoSight. We know this because of the 10 years worth of data that we have already in our database. So deduplication and compression is policy-based. Now, I create a policy. For example, those are my Exchange environment. This is my Exchange environment, my Exchange volumes. These are my VDI environment. These are my backups, because one of the use cases for this, I'm talking about Nimble here, Nimble hybrid arrays, is to have it as a repository for Nimble as a backup repository. Now, we are seeing a huge amount of deduplication and compression. It's because we do it, first of all, inline. There is no impact, okay, on the performance. And again, we have triple plus parity, which is 500 million times more resilient than RAID 5. And we do it in a variable fashion, in a very efficient fashion, that only the workloads that can dedupe really well versus each other, this is where we do the deduplication and compression. So thank you for the question.
Yeah, fantastic. I think you touched on other points. There was one thing about active, and licenses. I think this you have discussed in good detail. So if you would like to continue with a demonstration, go ahead, but do leave a minute or 2 for key takeaways before we close the session.
Okay, so I believe but we still have 2 minutes, so I'm not sure if it's... let me actually just quickly show you one thing. I had 2 small demos in mind. I will just show you one of them. I'm not sure if you can see my screen. Sure. Yes. Okay, so that's the welcome center that I was talking about. So this is when you scan the QR code on your array. And for example, we have it from Nimble Storage, DHCI, and Primera Storage. And this is our tier 0 storage. Imagine that we are giving you the opportunity to install tier 0 storage, but this is another story for another time. Now, we get started. Now we choose the model that we have. If it's an existing environment, a new environment, you go ahead and choose from vCenter perspective. I will continue with my checklist. This is the checklist that I was talking about. It will tell you what are the required HCI components. Just prepare everything ahead of time, right? And again, this is mobile friendly. Now, just to tell you that this is, I wasn't joking earlier. Look at this. Even there is a video for unboxing the system along with some write-ups here, how you unbox it, how you rack it, how you configure it, or actually how you connect it to the switch. You cable it, you power on, and then you move to the configuration. Prepare your environment. You can see that there is a video for every single step. Array discovery, array setup, configure the vCenter, etc. until you complete. And this is why we're telling you, this is no joke. It takes around 15 minutes in order to rack it and stack it. Super simple to use, extremely simple actually to use and install. So I think I'll leave the remaining times if we have any for the key takeaways. So I'm just gonna stop sharing my screen now.
Oh, fantastic. So I invite Samer also to join us, and we can wrap up through the key takeaways. So once again, Kenny, you gave a very nice integrated picture of how HPE is re-looking at the hyper-converged infrastructure, the data center, managing the challenges of performance, resource, and risk, and delivering exceptional performance. So in terms of key takeaways, I think you touched on many things, but what would be your main highlights that you want to leave the audience with? Go ahead, Kenny, and then Samer, you could also add a few words.
Yes, thank you, Arun. So actually, the key takeaways are the ones that I highlighted in my last slide. So extremely simple to use. I mean, some people, I want to emphasize on one thing, that some customers, you know, when they look at this, they say like, but guys, this is like servers and storage. No, it's not. I mean, physically it is, yes, but it's all about the experience, right? We started with this. We started with the experience, and this is what we provide. The HCI, Samer, please, can you go on mute? So the HCI environment, it's about the experience. So you manage the system from VM-centric approach. You know vCenter, you know the HCI, as simple as that. Give us a call, especially if you have a couple of servers, DL, Gen 9, Gen 10, we can transform this into a whole new level of support, a whole new level of experience with HPE Nimble Storage, DHCI.
Fantastic. It's really impressive about the 15 minutes rack and stack. And also you mentioned about 1,200 trillion data points going into predictive analytics from HPE InfoSight. Absolutely brilliant discussion and points that you made over there. Samer, I would like to invite you, your key takeaways based on the region that you're operating, JDS operations. Go ahead, and the solutions you're deploying. Go ahead, Samer.
Well, let me start by thanking Kenny. I hope it was informative a presentation for everyone who attended. Guys, if you need anything regarding what Kenny just showed you, please get in touch with us, and we will be glad to help you everywhere we can. Thank you all, and I hope you have a good, safe day. Thank you.
Thank you, Samer. So I think a little bit of audio disconnect, but Samer essentially inviting all attendees, any interest, anything to approach JDS. And on behalf of Global CIO Forum, HPE, JDS, and the speakers here, I'd like to close the session. I thank all the attendees for sitting through this 60+ minutes of absolutely engaging content and discussion. I look forward to seeing you once again. Thank you, Kenny. Thank you, Samer.
Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you
Thank all
everyone
the
for
attendees.
attending, and thank you JTS for organizing this event as well. And Arun, thank you so much for guiding us through this
Thank
session.
you. Thank you, guys.
Bye bye. Have a great day.